Emperor Kylart says the person would be lying, and he would punish them for it. Hearing things, Elon thinks that secret can never come to light. Leonhard sees Elon worried and asks her if she's sick. Elon says she's fine and is just tired. Leon's sister Arisa arrives and he acts cold towards her. Arisa says Elon is just as serious as Leonhard, who tells her to say why she's there. Arisa says she came to see the Emperor and goes off. Leonhard asks Arisa if the noble's daughter who met the Emperor was Mickey, but she feigns ignorance and leaves. Elon asks who Mickey is, and Leonhard says that they're scum who confirm rumors to check the Emperor's response and use innocent people. Elon is shocked to see what Leonhard thinks of his sister. Leonhard says he thinks of her as a snake-like child and tells her to keep her distance from her. Elon thinks that it's time for the Emperor to meet the Empress, and he's become more tolerant of people, but to ensure that it's safe, Mickey has to be sacrificed, and it's scary that she would be sent with a chance to be killed, just to gain an advantage. While sleeping, Kyler comes in her dream again, telling her to sleep and stay healthy. She calls him Majesty, but he tells her to call him Kyle as a term of affection. She wonders why he's talking like that and calls him Kyle. Kyle asks where it hurts, and she says that she's just pathetic. She's dreaming this because she wants it. Kyle hugs her and assures that it isn't pathetic. She asks him what he talked with Arisa about, but he tells her to wait a bit, and she wishes her dream would never end. Elon's buddy is recovering, but her heart feels uneasy due to the court physician, Arisa coming more, but mainly because of her dream. Even though she's tired from her work, she still gets harassed in her dreams and wishes for her heart to become sunny. She begins dreaming and finds herself sitting in Kyle's lap, and she realizes that in reality she must be sleeping in front of the Emperor and leaving him unguarded, so she decides to immediately wake up. Elon wakes up and looks for the Emperor, but jumps up when he realizes that she's sitting in his lap. She kneels and apologizes to him and wonders how she fell asleep on his lap. She wonders if she's still dreaming and calls Kyle to see his response. Arisa has seen all this and leaves as Elon looks towards her. Elon wonders how much Arisa had seen, and Kyle says that this is annoying. Hearing his cold voice, she realizes he isn't Kyle and decides not to confuse reality with dreams, as it will ruin her peaceful life. Kyle tells Elon that her escort task ends with the night's dinner and orders her to return to her original post. Elon wonders why she's keeping her by his side till she gets better, and she likes it, but also feels sad as she feels she's losing something, and wonders if it's because of the child, as the problem isn't solved yet. She thinks she can't lose focus and wonders what Kyle would think about the child's problem, and decides to stop thinking about Kyle and making herself sad, and decides to be happy about being away from the Emperor. Arisa cries and tramples over some flowers, sad at what she had just seen. Elon hopes Arisa won't have a weird misunderstanding and eats alone due to not wanting to make others worry about her, and celebrates being away from the Emperor and gets excited eating a tangerine. Leonhard sees Elon alone and calls her, which surprises her, making her drop the tangerine. She thinks normally she would have caught it. Leonhard sees Elon crying and asks if it's because she's still in pain and if she's hurting anywhere. Elon thinks she can't say she's crying because the tangerine got dirt on it, and remembers that because the way the body changes during pregnancy, she won't be able to control her emotions and blames her pregnancy. Seeing the captain worry about her, she decides to stop crying and says that she's fine, and remembers that she bought extra tangerines. Leonhard wipes her tears and tells her to stop crying. The others are shocked at the captain acting so kind. Elon tries to stop herself, but she blurts out that the captain scared her, causing her to drop the tangerine, which confuses him. The others think that they heard wrong, and Elon thinks she's gone mad and thinks everyone will think she's weird. Leonhard apologizes to her, saying he was careless, and asks why the tangerine was so special. Elon thinks she bought it only to eat it and there wasn't anything special. Leonhard says he won't be able to cover up her wound and takes responsibility. Elon asks how he'll do that. Leonhard says Elon must be going through a hard time, so they should leave, and says he's serious about letting him know what's bothering her and wants to be her pillar of support, and leaves, saying he doesn't want to make it hard for her. Elon is glad it ended well for her and feels bad for troubling everyone, and didn't realize she couldn't control her emotions this much. The next day, Elon sees a large amount of tangerine, which is a gift from the captain, and they aren't all of them. Elon is happy that Leonhard gave her so many tangerines, but it's impossible for her to eat them on her own. The others cry that they will turn orange eating so many tangerines. Elon brings some tangerines to the men, who try to decline, but another man takes them and accepts it, saying he will eat them all. Elon puts the basket back and thinks about going to the armory and swinging a sword. The physician told her to take it easy, but thinks it should be fine as she reduced the hours of her training. Suddenly, a person pushes her off the stairs and she worries about the baby. She gets up wondering who did it and thinks of going to the palace. She tries to get up but can't move from the pain, so she tries to call for help but can't due to the severity of her abdominal pain. She thinks that Kyle is coming to help her, but it turns out to be Leonhardt. She says to go to the palace, but he says the infirmary in the knight's quarters is closer, but she insists about the palace and he carries her. She wonders why she saw Kyle's face and wonders if she wanted him to come help her, and she can't stop thinking about him. Elan lies in pain as Leonhardt brings the doctor and tells him to check on her, saying she was kidnapped at work. He tells her to make herself comfortable and asks the captain to step out, but he refuses. But the doctor pushes him out, asking for a clean towel and hot water. He asks her what happened and she says that she fell down the stairs. He takes a look and says that the baby is fine and tells her that she'll be fine after some medicine. Suddenly, the captain enters and Elan gets up in pain. The doctor asks about the towels and the hot water, and he says he told a servant. The doctor says someone else knowing the information would make things complicated. Leonhardt asks if it's true, but the doctor tries feigning ignorance, but Leonhardt asks again, and the doctor says he hates quick-witted people because of things like this. Leonhardt asks why she hid that, and she says she can't say why. Leonhardt asks who the father is, and she refuses to answer. He asks if she will keep it alone, and she says she will do so. Elan wonders if she should leave the palace hoping to make money with a neighborhood watch and if the captain will keep her secret, and thinks about begging him. Leonhardt asks to be the dad, surprising everyone. Elan asks Leonhardt if he likes her, and he says he thought she was cool ever since he saw her, which makes her happy. Elan says she has no reason to accept his feelings, but he tells her not to rush, saying he will stay by her side, and leaves to go get some hot water for her. Elan asks the doctor if she's dreaming, who says this is reality. She wonders if the captain was serious about what he said. Outside, the captain punches a wall in anger. The doctor sees the captain taking his anger out on a wall and understands it, as he doesn't even know who the father is, and he has to let the woman he loves go. The doctor sees a shadow and asks if they're there to report to their owner, and wonders if they'll be punished for not protecting the target, and wonders what Elan will do now. Elan had been thinking of what to do if she got caught and is relieved that the captain is not one to probe, and he even told her to rest for a few days and thinks he's so nice. Suddenly, she smells some tasty food and goes towards the lady holding the bread. Elan thinks she shouldn't eat it, worrying about throwing up because of morning sickness, but it smells so good, so she decides to get one anyway. She takes a bite and it tastes so good that she asks her for 10 bags. She's glad to not face morning sickness. Kyle sits deep in his thoughts when the man arrives asking to be allowed to track the poison, but Kyle says it isn't poison, at which the man suggested maybe a curse. But Kyle stops him and summons the court physician. The physician gets thrown in front of the emperor, who asks why he's been summoned. The emperor says he's repulsed by the smell of the food and the thought of it makes him nauseous and asks what's wrong with him. The doctor says this isn't a poison or a curse. The men there realize what the symptoms are similar to, and the emperor understands what it actually is. At night, Elan lies in her bed, happy about the meat pie she ate, and says eating it was so fun and wants every day to be like this. Kyle again appears in her dreams, saying he wants to visit every day, but he's been busy lately, saying he had a lot of things to do. Elan looks at him and worries about being so thin and says his arms look dry and asks if he's hurt anywhere. He replies he doesn't know and changes the topic, saying that it's good she's gained weight and asks what happened to her. Elan cheerfully says she's been having good meals lately and talks about the steak she had for dinner. Kyle asks if she likes meat, and Elan says she does and tells Kyle to always eat what he craves. He sets his head in her lap and agrees to do it. Kyle asks Elan if she would accept someone's proposal, at which she thinks she needs to give a proper reason to Leonhardt, and says she'll probably end up rejecting him. Kyle begins touching Elan's thigh, and she says she doesn't like it, at which she says she can touch him too, to be even, and asks her to stay with him. The next morning, Elan gets up and quickly runs to the market and gets so sad that the stall selling chicken skewers isn't open. Elan tells the doctor about it, who tells her to eat whatever she wants. Suddenly, Leonhardt enters, saying he will help her, and she thinks it'd be easier but feels inappropriate as they're still on duty. The doctor says he's free, so he'll go by them, making her very happy, and she thanks him. Later, the doctor shows her the chicken skewers, but she apologizes, saying he can't eat it and says she wants fruits now. The doctor says it's natural for her cravings to frequently change and goes to buy the fruits while eating the skewers. The doctor hands her the fruits and she asks how he got them so quickly, and he says he has connections. Elan wonders what kind of connections he has and thinks he's suspicious. Despite the confidentiality contract, she can't relax, and he also knew about her recovery and improvement in health. So she thinks someone is keeping an eye on her and thinks it may be the doctor or Arisa, as she had been spiteful towards all the women who approached the Emperor and had seen her in the Emperor's lap. She goes to ask the captain but is surprised to find that he has been dispatched to a different region. He has gone to the Northern District and the vice captain will be covering his position. The Northern District has suffered from a barbarian invasion, and normally the Imperial Knights would guard the Emperor, so she wonders why he went there and thinks that it's a punishment. The doctor greets her and asks him about Leonhardt on the off chance she knows, and she suspects his eyes as he says he doesn't know. She runs thinking nothing is working out for her and thinks to leave, wondering why she keeps dreaming about Kyle and feels disheartened. Alon's resignation gets rejected on the basis that her diagnosis has to be accredited by 3 members of the Imperial Clinic, but she would get caught then, which will lead to her death at the hands of the Emperor or Arisa. If she stays, she will get caught due to the physical changes of her body, so she decides to run away at night. She decides to camp and sits atop a tree to not be spotted and tries to rest despite being uncomfortable, and spots Shadow Knights below, and thinks they are after her. The Shadow Knights go away and she decides to rest. Kyle appears in her dream and asks why she left. She says she felt her health declining, at which Kyle says he will hire the best physicians to treat her and asks her to come back. But she thinks this kind Kyle is only in her dreams and the real Emperor is a cruel man, and says that she can't be treated and she won't tell him about the illness. He angrily asks her if she ran away because she hates him, and he grabs her stomach, and says there's nothing he doesn't know so she shouldn't lie to her, and asks if she's pregnant with his child. Kyle says he will forgive her if she returns and asks her to stay with his side as it's their child, and he is known from the beginning. Alon realizes that it's both a dream and reality. Kyle says that she's the mother of his child and in the future she will stand with his side and the child will be his successor. She refuses, saying despite him knowing he only watched her in his dream, and says she hates liars. Kyle then says that she'll bring her back with force and she jolts awake. She tries to get back to her horse, but a Shadow Knight appears saying the Emperor has called for her, and if she runs now it will be considered treason and they don't want to hurt her, so they ask her not to fight. Alon stabs the knight in the head and tries to run away and thinks Kyle's been keeping an eye on her through her dreams. And she suffered through so much for no reason, and he acted so kind to her in her dream, and he wants her to be his empress, and she cries that he just watched her suffer. She manages to hide and thinks what to do as Kyle will appear if she falls asleep. Thinking Kyle casted a spell, she decides to Elin, the city of sages, to deal with it, and dyes her hair black to stay under the radar. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and press that bell icon to know about our latest videos.